Jake here for American Trucks, and today I'm taking a look at this OE style powered heated mirror with amber LED turn signal for the passenger side of 2007 to 2014 F-150s. If your F-150 is in need of a replacement mirror and you want to keep that stock look and functionality, this is going to be just what you're looking for. Featuring OEM type styling and construction, this is a full replacement mirror that's going to keep all the functionality of your truck intact, and it keeps the cost quite low. It always seems to happen eventually. You drive your truck enough and the mirror gets busted up somehow. But fear not, we've got a great option here for replacement. This is going to take the exact style and function of your OEM mirror. It's going to save you a bit of money over the factory option. Now this one includes power adjustments for that mirror glass, as well as a heating element in the mirror glass too for those frosty mornings. And of course there are the amber LED turn signals on the inside and outside of the mirror too. And these are going to function as your turn signal repeaters and make your intentions just that much more visible. There's also a puddle light on the bottom too, so if your truck had that option box ticked from the factory, these are going to work as well. Now it is worth noting that this is only the passenger side mirror that we're looking at right now, so obviously these are sold separately. However, we do have the matching driver's side mirror on our website, so if you need or want a complete set, make sure you grab that one as well. Construction here is all OE style ABS plastic for the housings with an amber polycarbonate lens for the turn signal, both on the inside and outside. And of course the mirror glass is your standard as well, so this is going to hold up and function just like the original one that came on your truck. And since those lights for the turn signals are all LED, they're going to have a nice long lifespan too. Pricing is probably the biggest selling point here though, as this one is only going to run you about $110, which is far cheaper than getting the equivalent OEM piece from Ford themselves. Trust me, I went ahead and looked for you. And again, you're not sacrificing any functionality or really any quality either. This looks, feels, and operates just like a factory mirror, so it makes a very economical and sensible replacement. Installation is going to get a 1 out of 3 and should take you about an hour. Now, since this is designed to directly replace your factory mirror, it's going to bolt on using the original mounting points without any modification, and it's a total plug and play operation. Now, I do say that with the caveat that if your truck did not have some of these options included from the factory, then wiring is going to be required on the truck side. However, if you've got the equivalent one of these on your truck currently, this is going to be a super duper easy install. And here to show you exactly what's entailed is one of our AT customers.
Tools you need for this job are a 1/4-inch drive ratchet, a 6mm socket, an 8mm socket, a 10mm socket, and an 11mm socket, a plastic pry tool, a small screwdriver, and optionally a impact wrench with a 1/4-inch drive attachment to it. I'm going to show you how to install this OE style heated and turn signal mirror on a 2008 F-150. So we're going to start off with our plastic pry tool, and we're going to get this speaker grill off as well as this cover right here. So we go ahead and just push it in and work it around in order to pop this off, and it'll just come off the rest of the way with your hands. Now this is popped off and we can set this aside. Next thing, I'm going to pop off this button panel right here. Again, with the plastic pry tool, just going to stick it under, work it around in order to pull this up. Just a little bit more. There we go. And this lifts up, comes out just like that. And we have 2 wires here. You just press the tab to pull the connector out. Gotta work it back and forth just a little bit on both of these to get your button panel off, and you can set that aside. Next, I'm going to take this small screwdriver here and just pop this little cover off just like that, and set this aside. Okay, now we've got a few bolts that we're going to take off. We got 2 bolts right here. There's 1 bolt back down here that I will show you later. 4 bolts on your speaker, and 2 bolts down here at the bottom of this panel. First thing I'm going to start off with is these 2 bolts here. I'm going to get my 8mm socket and put it on my impact driver just to take it off. I'm going to get both of these bolts. Just like that. And set those two bolts aside there. Now I'm going to take my 1/4" drive ratchet and I'm going to get the bolt that's right in here. Now you can just barely see that bolt that's right up here in the corner. So I'm just going to take my ratchet and loosen that up. Okay, now that bolt is out and put aside. Okay, now we're going to take our 4 bolts for our speakers out. We're going to use a 6mm socket and our impact driver for this. And we'll set those bolts down, and our speaker should start to just fall right out there. So we'll take our speaker and we'll press the tab on this connection here to unplug that wire. We'll take our speaker and this little black cover out and set them aside. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take off these 2 little plastic nuts that the speaker mounts onto with a pair of needle nose pliers. Come and just pull them out. Just like that, and set those aside. Okay, now we're going to take out this bolt here and this bolt over here. These use a 6mm socket that I'm just putting on my impact driver to take them out. And those bolts are out, and we'll set them aside here. Now we can go ahead and take our door panel off. We're going to have it's just some plastic, just a little bit of plastic that holds it in there, and we're just going to lift up and pull out. You are going to want to lock your door just like that, just to make it easier to clear the knob here. So I'm going to go ahead, pull this up just like that, and the door panel comes off. Now we do have to get our handle cable, or door handle cable, out of the way. Disconnect that. All right, you can see right here how your door cable connects to your handle. You just take the cable and pop it out of this holder right here, then move to the side so you can lift up just like that. Now that your cable is out of the way, the door panel is free, and you can take this off and set it aside. Okay, next we're going to go ahead and remove our mirror. It helps to have your window open so you can have one hand on the outside through the window when you're loosening 3 bolts here. First going to start by taking off this electrical connection right here by prying back on this plastic back here, and we got 1 tab right here that we're going to push with our thumb, and this connector comes right out. All right, next we're going to take off these 3 nuts right here. We're going to hold the mirror through the window while we're doing so, just to make sure that it doesn't fall. For this, we're going to need an 11mm socket, and I'm going to put that on my impact. And I'm just going to loosen the bottom 2 first. And hold the mirror as I get the last one at the top. Now the mirror will just come straight out. Just work it a little bit. And there is our mirror off. Now you'll notice that your connector here is pushed out, as well as some 3 little plastic pieces here. We want to make sure that that is the case on the new mirror as well. So I'm going to set this aside. and grab my new mirror right here. And you can see that the holes aren't punched all the way through, so we're going to go ahead and just make sure that it is pushed all the way down on those. And I'm just going to tear this little piece off here. And this didn't come through quite all the way, so you need to work at it a little bit. Okay, now all of the foam is pushed down in all the spots, and we can take off these 3 covers for the studs, just like that. And the new mirror comes with 3 10mm nuts that you'll use to install. So we're going to go ahead and push it through the window and guide it into the 3 holes that the original mirror came out of. Sometimes it's a little tricky, but we're going to go ahead and just push it on right there for now and hand tighten the nuts. Okay, now that the nuts have been started by hand and are on the threads, we can go ahead and take our 10mm here on our impact driver and tighten these 3 nuts on. And you want to be sure to pinch the mirror with your hand a little bit and just get it closer to the car as you're tightening to make sure it's a good solid seal on there with that foam. And you want to go a little at a time on the 3 nuts. Okay, now my 3 nuts here are tight, and we can start to put the door back together. We will start by pushing our connector in till you hear that small click, and this wire will then go back over and push our plastic seal back on. Now this truck was already wired for the heated and turn signal mirrors, so I didn't have to do any additional wiring. Now I'm going to continue by putting the door panel back on, and we're just going to do everything the opposite way that we started. All right, we will start off here by pushing our little bead back into this slot and getting the cable pulled through and pushed back in here. Sometimes it will snap, other times it just kind of rests in there. Just like that. And we will go ahead and get the door panel back on using these plastic hooks right here. We're just going to come from the top here, feeding whatever wires necessary through to make sure that they aren't caught. And we're going to come from the top and lower the door panel back down so that it catches and those plastic hooks hold, just like that. Everything is nice and tight there. Okay, we will put these 2 bolts back with our 6mm socket on our 1/4" drive ratchet. Just gets pushed right in here. Just like that. Now our second one over here. Okay, nice and tight there. Now we're going to come back here and we're going to put our 2 little plastic standoffs back into these 2 holes. Push those in, and this black cover gets slotted right here, covering both the door panel and the metal of the door. Just like that. Now we take our speaker and these 4 bolts with our 6mm socket on our 1/4" drive wrench. And we will first find our speaker wire right in here, plugging it back in, just like that, and the speaker gets mounted back in here. Gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start the 4 bolts before I go back and tighten them. Now I'm going to fully tighten the 4 bolts. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put back this bolt right here with its washer, and for that I'm going to use this 8mm socket with the 1/4" drive wrench, and this bolt just goes right back in here and gets tightened with our 8mm on our 1/4" drive wrench. Okay, now that that's done, I'm going to put back these 2 8mm bolts, once again using my 8mm socket and 1/4" drive wrench. Okay, now that one's started, and we'll go ahead and start this one here. We're gonna put our button panel back on, just like this. Our green wire snaps into the top here, and our gray wire snaps into the bottom right here. Then you take your button panel, come from the top. You got these 3 notches right here that will go into the door, just like that, and push down. Now your button panel is back on. Next, we're going to put our speaker panel back on just by placing the metal tabs in and pushing down, working your way around, ensuring all tabs are pushed in, just like that. Our speaker panel is on. And finally, we will put our little cover above our door handle. Just like that. And now your new OEM style mirror with heated mirrors and turn signals is installed.
That's going to wrap it up here for our review and install of this OE style powered heated mirror with amber LED turn signals for the passenger side of 2007 to 2014 F-150s. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, for all things F-150, be sure to keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.